Today, Baba is telling us the depth of the quality of non-violence. And Baba is bringing us to the awareness that the first form of violence is when we suppress our original qualities, our pure qualities, and take, use the sanskars of Ravan. Yes, so Baba says this is the first act of violence that we commit towards ourselves. So you see that violence, what qualifies as violence? So violence is anything through which there is give and take of sorrow. So violence leads to sorrow. Yes, and in the world, the violence is defined, the many aspects of violence are defined, physical violence or, verbal violence or, even taking away money from somebody by force is a form of violence. So there are so many kinds of emotional abuse. So why are they called abuse or violence? Because they lead to giving of sorrow. So Baba says first thing is when we suppress our original Satu Pradhan sanskars and use our sanskars of Ravan, use lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed, then what does it result in? It results in we becoming sorrowful, because as soon as you use the sanskars of Ravan and act out of it, you lose your happiness. That's the first thing that happens. So that is an act of violence on the self. Yes, so I'll give you a very simple example. So there is this sister, and she was telling me that there are many cats where she lives. And then those cats, they keep littering around. So, in front of the house or somewhere around, they would keep littering. And then she said that yesterday I got so upset thinking about these cats and getting so angry about the situation that every day there is so much of litter and I have to get it cleaned or this kind of a situation that she lost all her happiness. And she was very irritated. And then she said, I tried to remember Baba and I couldn't do that also. So you see that Baba says that whatever is happening around you, you remain on your seat of your original qualities, in the awareness of who you are. You emerge your Sato Pradhan sanskars. And you see that this is our first duty towards ourselves. So Baba is every day reminding us, be soul conscious, children. And what is soul consciousness? Soul conscious means that I remember that I am a soul and my original quality is purity and peace and love and joy. And when I emerge these qualities and sit in the awareness of who I really am, this is like the biggest service to yourself. Because, from that seat, we have to think, we have to speak, and we have to act. So, do you know that when a child is born, then at that time, Baba always says that in the womb, the soul experiences punishment. Yes, and the soul suffers because of the acts of body consciousness that the soul performed in the last birth. And what is the method of that suffering? So again, the method of that suffering is having visions of those actions. Yes, and when the soul has visions of what it did when it was body conscious, then it suffers because of the memory of those actions. And then the soul promises that I won't perform any actions in body consciousness now. I will just be soul conscious and perform pure actions and settle my karma. Now, do you know that when the soul comes out of the womb also as a baby, then also that promise that the soul made, that I'm going to act out of soul consciousness and act in peace and purity, that promise is remembered by the child. But do you know when that promise breaks? When the child starts coming into actions, and especially when the mouth opens, when the child starts speaking. So, when we practice soul consciousness, when we practice, every Brahmin, I'm sure they definitely practice soul consciousness because we act on Baba's Srimad. So we sit and remember that, yes, I'm a soul and these are my Sato Pradhan sanskars, and I emerge those sanskars. Yes, so Baba says that we do that, but what happens is we have to maintain that awareness while we come into actions. So, because there is a big pull of those sanskars of body consciousness as soon as you come into actions. And that is why the practice of being antarmukhi, even while you're coming into actions, you have to have this awareness that I'm a soul coming into actions. And I'm a soul speaking through the mouth, I'm a soul working through the hands, I'm a soul listening through the ears or seeing through the eyes. And when I'm in awareness and I retain this stage of being peaceful and pure while coming into actions, then I will save myself from first losing my happiness because of my own actions. And the first level of action is thought. You see, the thoughts we create or the feelings we create, those thoughts, we may say that the trigger is outside. But why do we get triggered? Because we forget who I am. I am seeing, what. So this is the difference between being bahyamukhi and being antarmukhi. So when you are antarmukhi, when you are inward oriented, you always tend to think about who I am, what is my quality, and how should I behave in accordance with my quality. But when you become bahyamukhi, when you become outwardly oriented, then you are always thinking about what's happening outside, what is that one doing, or what is that one saying. And then what happens is the scenes and the sounds and the sights and the circumstances, they tend to trigger you. So Baba says you have to take care. So you see that being non-violent is not easy. We live in a culture of violence. Yes, so Baba says the first act of non-violence is don't step down from your seat of purity and peace, and don't perform any actions that will make you lose your happiness and feel sorrow. Yes, and even the thoughts and feelings that we create, how much sorrow do they give us? And then we are not even able to have yoga with Baba. Even you see, when we speak words which are bitter or which are rude, what happens is you lose your happiness first. And then second is, when you are doing those actions, then even the person in front is experiencing sorrow. So that also becomes, the cycle of violence gets perpetuated like this. So Baba, that's why tells us the depth of non-violence today. The depth of non-violence is, first, don't perform any act of violence by suppressing your satopradhan sanskars and emerging your, Ravan's sanskars of Ravan is an act of violence towards yourself. And when we save ourselves from this act, then we will be able to save ourselves from being violent towards others. Yes, so this is the depth of non-violence that Baba is teaching us today. And you see, Baba is the ocean of knowledge, and what Baba tells us, nobody can tell us. I have attended many seminars on non-violence. Yes, and they always speak about not being violent towards the other. But the thing is, the law says, you do unto others what you do to yourselves. So whatever you are doing to yourself, you will always do to others. So if you are violent towards yourself, if you are not loving towards yourself enough so that you keep your satopradhan sanskars emerge, if you don't have that much love for yourself, then you cannot have love for others. You will always be a source of sorrow to others. So that's why, in this world, there's so much talk about self-love, but nobody knows the self, and nobody knows what self-love means. So, or self-care means. So, you see, the self is not the body, the self is the soul. And then, what is self-care or self-love? Paying attention to being soul conscious and in remembrance of Baba. This is self-love or self-care. And when you take care of yourself, when you're not violent towards yourself, only then can you stop being violent towards others. And mostly we become very guilty because we perform any act of violence towards somebody else. But the thing is, if you don't treat the seed, the root, then other things cannot be treated. So we have to understand the seed of violence towards others is, first we perform this act of violence, that we suppress our original sanskars and make use of the sanskars of Ravan. And if this has become normal and I don't consider this as violence, then I will consider every other form of violence as normal. Yes, because in that state of body consciousness, bitter words, bitter behavior will appear very normal, very justified to me. So this is the depth of non-violence that Baba teaches us. And there's a question, how does it become Garbh Mahal in Satyug? Because the baby is in womb only, yes, but because now we will finish all our karmic accounts. When the soul goes to Satyug, there is no bitter memory. So the soul is not reminded of any unfinished karmic accounts or anything that you did in the past birth, because you have already cleared that account and then you go. So that's why, because there are no visions coming to the soul in that manner, that's why the soul is in Garbh Mahal. So this is why I clarified today, how does the soul get punished in the womb? Because the visions of what the soul did in body consciousness in the previous births come to the soul. And when there are no pending karmic accounts and no such body conscious memories, because you've cleared it either through tapasya or through punishment before you go to the soul world. So then when you come in Satyug, so then these memories do not emerge. So the memories become a source of punishment. One day earlier in the class also I was saying that, you see, let's say you're very rude sometime to somebody, but then and you don't feel a thing when you're being rude. But then somebody shoots a video of you and circulates it. Then you feel very embarrassed. Yes, why? Because when you're in body consciousness, you don't realize what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're behaving. But when you are in a better frame of mind and that same act is brought before you, then you feel very ashamed and you feel a lot of repentance. And you see in the experiences of many people, they have narrated that when they had a near death experience, then when they realized in that near death experience, they felt the soul conscious state. And in that state, when they thought about the actions that they did in life, they felt very embarrassed and guilty about them. So this is the thing that happens. So body consciousness becomes like a cloud that cuts out all clarity from within. So this is what Baba is saying. And then Baba today talks about the capacity of your words to reveal Baba. So Baba says that you see, Baba will be revealed through our words, because we, of course, through our actions and through our stage, but we give the introduction of Baba through words. And Baba talks about today something very interesting, which is the power of words. And Baba says your words will have the power to reveal Baba. When you tell somebody that Baba has come, then why does that soul not dismiss it and not pay attention to it? Yes, just think about, somebody telling somebody that there is a different planet on which people are living, or, something else. So all these bizarre things also, when somebody tells somebody, people believe it. But when we say that Baba has come, why don't people believe it? Because you see, it's such a happy news and it's a good thing that Baba has come. Or you are a soul or you give the knowledge of the cycle of time, then why are we not able to instill faith in the one who is listening? Because Baba says, there is a lot of waste of words that you are engaging in. So when you waste the energy of words, then the power of your words decrease. And this is a very important law. So you see, our words will have power when we don't speak wasteful words. And Baba says, when you adopt the quality of speaking always in your avyakta state, yes, in your angelic state, and words of sweetness. Now, you see, in the angelic stage, when you are in the subtle region, then you don't use a lot of words. You use more of, the communication through thoughts. So when you have clarity of thought and you speak very less words, so whatever you want to say, the words are few and the thoughts and feelings in consonance with the words are very strong, then that is called the angelic way of communicating. And Baba says, let your words always be filled with sweetness. So, if you make it a policy to only speak when it's necessary, I have experienced that in the body conscious world, we make it a habit to speak all the time and give our opinion all the time and participate all the time, or you also want to have an upper hand in any discussion by speaking more. But if you want to actually become Baba's instrument, then refrain from giving your opinion in everything, refrain from, being a part of every discussion. Just keep your mouth, shut until it's necessary, and whatever you are saying is meaningful and contributing to somebody's growth and well-being. So Baba says, just refrain from that. And I have felt, I have made this a practice, and it has helped me a lot. So if you just tend to keep quiet until your idea or opinion is very necessary, or it is very important to say those words, or those words are uplifting in nature, then you must keep quiet. And when you have this habit, and whenever you speak, always come from a place of sweetness, because you see, even if you have to, even if somebody is doing something wrong, or you have to correct them or something, first take a pause, come from a change from a place of complaint to sweetness, complaint to acceptance to sweetness. And I have also made it a practice that if something that I see or something that I hear has destabilized me, it has caused a reaction within me, then first I have to take care of my reaction and then their action. So if I am feeling something when they did something, then I have to first take care of what's damaged inside, and then take care of what they are doing outside, because I'm more damaged than them, right? Because whatever they are doing is able to upset me. So I am also wounded inside. So my first duty is to bring myself to a state of spiritual health, and then respond outside, or give them some direction that, okay, you can, instead of doing it like this, you could do it like this. So these are the ways in which you can switch to your angelic way of speaking, or sweet way of speaking. And when you do that, and you reduce or eliminate the waste in your words, then your words will have the power to reveal Baba. And when you speak, when you speak about Baba, when you give Baba's introduction to anybody, then they will feel that, yes, whatever you are speaking is the truth, because your words have the power of truth, because you're speaking truth through your mouth all day. Yes, and what is the truth? You see, truth is not what is. Truth is, when you consider the beginning, middle, and end, and consider the original state of everything, and then you speak to somebody. So, if somebody has made a mistake and you say you are somebody who makes mistakes, no, that's not the truth. The truth is they are a soul, a pure soul. So the truth is the eternal truth. And when you are always aligned with the eternal truth, you are not affected by the truth of the moment, but you are aligned with the eternal truth. Then your words will carry the power of truth. And then, that truth will ring a bell in everybody's heart. When you say something, they will feel that, they are saying the truth. So this is the way you will be able to reveal Baba. And have you seen that in the story of the yajna, in the how the yajna proceeded and what happened in the beginning? When we hear those stories, we understand that when somebody came to Brahma Baba, at that time there were not many pictures also. Baba always says that it is very easy to explain through pictures. But when in the beginning of the yajna, there weren't even so many pictures with so much of clarity, then what would Baba do? Baba would just take a pen and paper and draw an outline of a body and draw a dot and say, this is you, the soul. And do you know that that in that 1 minute, that soul would realize that I am a soul. And these days, we give, 7 days, 6 days lessons about soul and, what is the quality of the soul? Where does the soul live? How do you know the soul lives there? What is the proof of the qualities of the soul and everything? And how does the soul operate the body and everything? But still, nobody becomes soul conscious in a second. And that's because of, this stage, this avyak stage, and no wastage of words. That was the dharana in Brahma Baba that made the souls who came to Brahma Baba realize that they are souls. So Baba says that we have to have this kind of dharana if we want to reveal Baba through our words. Just ask yourself deeply, do you have a very burning desire in your heart to be an instrument through whose words Baba is revealed? Yes, because it depends on what is your intensity of that desire. Because there's a very good saying in English, if your intensity of purpose is greater than the intensity of your distractions, then you will find your purpose. Yes, so if our purpose is very clear, if I have this burning desire in my heart that I want to be the person who reveals Baba through my words, and I want to be that able instrument, then I will be able to, bring all this Shrimat into practice and speak less, speak softly, speak sweetly, and speak only necessary and knowledgeful words. And if I don't have that much of clarity of purpose that I want to be the instrument to reveal Baba, then the distractions will be many. And then those distractions will not allow me to speak less or sweetly or softly. So this is what Baba is saying. And then today Baba says that I give you a very important wisdom. The wisdom to change from Tamo Pradhan to Sato Pradhan. Yes, and what is the wisdom? Become knowledgeful, become full of yoga power, become pure. Yes, and Baba says that you just have to apply this wisdom and you will change from Tamo Pradhan to Sato Pradhan. Yes, but Baba says you are the only ones in the world who have received this wisdom. Yes, of how to change the soul from impure to pure. Everybody in the world is becoming more and more impure every day because they have not received the formula to change from impure to pure. But Baba is giving us the knowledge, and Baba says just become knowledgeful, churn on the knowledge, imbibe the knowledge, and let that knowledge become a part of your attitude. Let your awareness and attitude and actions become knowledgeful. I have given you the knowledge of how to remember me, how to consider yourself to be a soul and remember me. Just do that and burn your sins. Become free from the burden of sins. And Baba says that this is what you have to do and you will become Sato Pradhan. And then Baba says, nobody should speak the words that, I am becoming very pure but nobody knows me. Baba says, no. Those who are becoming pure, those who are changing into Sato Pradhan will never remain hidden. Yes, and how will they be revealed? So Baba says the sign of somebody who is changing into Sato Pradhan, the sign of somebody who is imbibing knowledge and having accurate yoga is that they will become serviceable. Yes, so they will become serviceable. And Baba says, wherever you are, whether you are living in the Lokik family or you are living in this center, when you become knowledgeful and powerful with yoga, then you muster the courage to do seva. And seva requires courage. Yes, and when you have the courage to win over your sanskars of laziness and carelessness and sleep and miserliness and everything, all these sanskars, they are the sanskars that don't allow you to do seva. Just imagine, Brahma Baba at the age of 60, Shiv Baba entered Brahma Baba's body. And Brahma Baba could become the founder of such a big yajna. So Brahma Baba could initiate such huge service. Why? Because Brahma Baba imbibed the power of knowledge and power of Baba's remembrance. And Baba says that it is not about physical limitations. It's always about the limitations of your sanskars. It is never the limitations of the body or resources that don't allow you to do seva. It is always the limitation of sanskars. Yes, and in order to do seva through body, mind and wealth, we need to rise above our sanskars. So somebody who is lazy, somebody who is, too much into sleeping and too much into, wasting their physical energy, too much into sensual pleasure, they can never do physical seva. Yes, they become tired very easily. You don't get tired because of your body. You don't get tired because there's something lacking in your body or something more in your body. You get tired because of these sanskars. If your sanskar is of laziness and idleness, you will get tired doing a little. If your sanskar is of miserliness, however much wealth you have, you will never surrender anything in Baba's yajna. You will not make your fortune. You will not become serviceable. So Baba says that, we have to rise above our sanskars. And that happens when we become knowledgeful and powerful. So the sign of a knowledgeful and powerful soul is they will have the courage to do service. Yes, and nobody stops you. It is your sanskars that stop you. Yes, and if you overcome those sanskars, then nobody and nothing can stop you. So Baba says, and those who become virtuous, those who become serviceable, they will never remain hidden. They will be revealed. And everybody will come to know. Even if you are living in a family context, you will create so many souls like yourselves, because when you have that dharana, when you have the courage to give Baba's knowledge, then many will flock to you. And Baba says these souls will never remain hidden. So this is Baba's teachings today. Anybody wants to share anything, please do.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Yesterday I listened to a YouTube video about souls, that we have two worlds. One is soul world and this is role world. And when soul enters this role world, then it forgets that world and thinks that, oh, I own all these things, all these relations, all are mine. And when something happens to that, then it takes it very personally, and it goes into sorrow. And this is a kind of violence. And because awareness is lost, then everything is taken personally. Suppression also is a violence. And we all have crossed all these things in our life at one point of time. And this suppression is due to lack of awareness. Now, at least we have to be every time aware of this.
Right. But usually, in the world, there is so much of Ravan Mat that you are not stopped from suppressing your Satupradhan sanskars. Rather, you are stopped from suppressing your Tamopradhan sanskars. People say don't shy away in expressing anger or sorrow, or, if you have to shout, shout, if you have to scream, scream, if you have to cry, cry. Why? Because this is the opposite mat of Ravan. So whatever Baba tells you, Ravan teaches you the exact opposite. So Ravan teaches you to not suppress your tamopradhan sanskars. And Baba teaches us that no, those are not our sanskars only. So we don't have to use them. We have to suppress those, and we have to emerge our original sanskars. Yes, so this is the thing. So even, when people say that now now I have grown big, and now I don't suppress my feelings, now I have learned how to live. What they mean is, I don't suppress my negative feelings. But if you express your negative feelings, that's a form of violence towards yourself, because that's not going to do any good to you. So you see, if you look at the idea of freedom in the world, or the idea of being mature or being free, is that you freely express your negative feelings. So that's a complete opposite of what Baba tells us. Okay, Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Just now you said that don't get so if we are crying emotionally, or if we are totally getting angry due to some reasons, reactions, so it means it was wrong. It is wrong. No?
Yes, it is. It is not only wrong; it is self-sabotage, because you are making yourself. See, when you cry, you are reminding yourself of everything that's wrong with you and your situations. And what is the program?
Like you get rid of your emotions. That was also wrong.
Yes. So how do you get rid of them? Of course, you have to get rid of them. But how do you get rid of them? You get rid of them by infusing logic into them. So, when you have a surge of emotion, ask yourself, why are you having this emotion? Not because of what happened, but because you were not aware at that time. And now you are aware, so you can let go of it. Yes, so let's say I was attached, I had a moment of attachment, and then I felt a surge of emotions. But then remind yourself that at that time I was not in my knowledgeful, powerful state. Now I remember that I'm a soul, I'm just an actor on this stage, and I don't have to take this sorrow in this situation, and thus drop it. So you have
for
to.
a moment we can. If it happens momentarily, it is okay. And
no, it's not okay, but it happened. So you can't do anything about it. If you can change it before happening, all the better. But if it happened, then it happened. There's no use crying over what happened. But change it. Yes, so that's the thing. Okay. Om Shanti. Hanji. Om Shanti.
I like the point you said our words will have power only when we are in soul conscious state, when we speak in soul conscious state, and there's no wasteful words coming out of our mouth.
Always. That's the thing. Always this has to be there. Yes. So, of course, when we are giving gyan, we are soul conscious. But always this has to be there.
So when my words are not valued, keeping silent is ultimate.
Yes, but not because they are not valued, but because you understand that I'm speaking more than necessary, so they are not valued. See, if you think that my words are not valued, so let me keep silent, then there is a resentment inside. And although you're silent, you're not peaceful. Yes, but when you understand that my words are not valued because I'm speaking, not to the point. So when I am going within, I am keeping silent, then I'm working on myself about how to put myself across to the point. I'm not saying that they are not taking me seriously. I'm saying, yes, maybe I'm not putting it across rightly, so they are not valuing it. So let me put it rightly. So there is a difference between these two approaches.
A perspective change.
Yes, yes.
Thank
Okay.
you, Deepu.
Okay. Om Shanti. Thank you.